How's it going, knife nerds? So today we are taking a look at the Miguron Velona. I've had this thing for months. I haven't really touched it. So I figured it was about time to kind of do a short, brief, overview and my thoughts and opinions on the knife. My friends that know me know that I don't buy budget knives because I cannot afford budget knives. All my funds tend to go to higher end collector pieces, and I just don't, I don't put any money into budget knives because then I'm taking money away from my funds that might go into something much more expensive and nicer. And so I dipped in and I bought this thing a few months ago. It was pretty tempting. I wanted to, kind of see, what is a $45 budget Chinese knife doing these days. And, the size of the blade and the design of it and everything kind of drew me in. And so I said, yeah, it's $45. What the hell? I'll check it out, right? It was on sale. I think when they come back with another batch, they're going to be closer to like $70. But yeah, I think it was like $46 total that I paid for this knife. So here comes the eye candy. We have a over 4-inch blade here. I think this is like 4.2 inch with a belt satin finish that is rather burnt and really kind of shitty looking. And so when I bought this, it was during a bunch of there were a bunch of YouTubers that were already reviewing this knife, and they bought all the black ones. So I ended up with this satin and OD or whatever tan micarta. And yeah, so the belt satin finish here looks like utter shit, not gonna lie. You can see how there's this weird sort of orbital shape kind of burn in the middle of the blade right here. I don't know if you can see that. It's like a weird, you see how the light radiates out in an arc around this one spot right next to the edge. That's where they burnt it, either on the belt sander or during the sharpening. And so yeah, just a really, really shitty looking finish. This knife has a lot of great little details for the price point, but yeah, the blade finish is absolute garbage in my opinion. The next little gripe that I had was, it's got this fuller, which is bead blasted down in there, and it looks pretty dope. And, I really dig the fuller because you can fuller flick it. And the action is really good with the fuller. And yeah, very nice, except for, look at that. The fuller terminates way off in two different places on the blade. And, just absolute shit quality control there. And yeah, that looks really, really bad, okay? You don't notice it if you're looking at it from one side or the other. But if you're a fucking freak about the details like I am, that shit is just unacceptable right there. So yeah, totally bad grind on the fuller there. And other than that, I don't have much gripes. That's really it. There's a lot of good here going on. It's got good action. Both the flipper and the fuller work very well. I've never actually tried to thumb flick it. Let's see if that's possible. It's totally possible if you don't fumble the ball and drop it. But yeah, you can even kind of thumb roll it out. And that's probably because the D10 is a little weak here. So if I, kind of try to fail it, it will fail. So a little bit of a dead fish detent, but it's not too bad. and if you put any effort at all into deploying that flipper tab, it's going to open reliably. So I can't really knock the action too much, but the D10 is a little on the weak side. It does have a titanium pocket clip, which I am quite fond of. So it's kind of reminiscent of the sort of straight stick-like pocket clips that came on the Ferrum Forge Crux and the whole Drop Ferrum Forge series, except that this one actually has a little bit of a curve here, and they actually even put a little angle on the end of the pocket clip there to kind of spice it up, give it some shape. So it's a pretty nice looking little clip. It functions pretty well. It's got enough spring. It's not too stiff. It is very low profile. I don't feel that clip one bit. It feels like part of the handle to me. So very well executed on the pocket clip. It does have, I do believe the hardware is all stainless steel. Actually, let me try and verify that real quick here. Actually, everything is steel on this, so I don't know if I will be able to verify that, but yeah, okay. Huh. There's so much magnet from the liner that I probably can't even verify. I know this pocket clip is titanium, so the liners are steel. But I do believe the screws are all stainless steel, and you have the Miguron logo, which they turn kind of sideways on the pivot there, and I do believe it is a captured pivot. So we got a G10 backspacer to go with the G10 scales. The scales have a nice texture. They're not too smooth, not too rough. Good traction there without being aggressive like a Spyderco G10. So they did a decent job on that. The scales are shadow boxed around the liners completely, so you see the liners exposed all the way around the scales on both sides. And the liners are fully mirror polished stainless steel. They give you a great lock relief here, so that it is really easy to get your hand in here and disengage the lock. And don't mind my fingers, I was working on a machine today, so I've got grease and crap under my fingernails. I've washed my hands like 5 times and I'm still not getting it all off, but yeah, I don't normally have hands this dirty. I was working with grease and muck today. Anyways, yeah, so they give you a little bit of jimping here, but the jimping is not sharp. And it's not really functional either. It doesn't add any traction. It's very polished and smooth because they actually polished right over the jimping. But it's, it's not ugly, so there's that. But yeah, very easy access to the lock. And so that's a good thing. Ergos, pretty darn phenomenal. It feels really good in hand. There is some of that, again, the jimping is all polished out right here on the liners on top of the blade, and that's kind of where my thumb falls, so that's good. This is a big honking knife. I got regular, normal, medium to large size hands, and that's a monster. It's a big knife, which is cool because, it makes it easily a drop shutting action. Nice and smooth drop shutty action, very guillotine like. And for the price, $45, it's crazy to see that kind of stuff coming out of China. The budget market today is so saturated with good knives. I mean, good knives that the average guy can afford. A guy working down at the local Costco as a stock guy can easily afford a knife like this, and I think that's a great thing. I like the fact that we have this budget market that we have today because of China, but at the same time it's so saturated that there's just nothing impressive about it anymore. 10 years ago, if this knife had dropped, it would have been cheers from the audience. People would have given it a standing ovation. It would have been absolutely insane to see a knife like this for 45 bucks, you know, a decade ago or even 7 years ago. But now this is kind of standard fodder here. Civivi, Miguron, there's just so many brands that are putting out this type of thing where it's under 50 bucks or 70 bucks, and it's got basic blade steel, basic materials, but you know, the build quality is good, the action is good, and there's all that stuff. And I'm burned out on seeing it, like I'm sure a lot of people are. I don't care about it anymore. It was cool when it was new. It's not new anymore, you know. I think that the Kaiser, the Vanguard series was kind of the first to the market with this type of thing, where they were doing, you know, like the Roach for 70 bucks or like the Beglighter and stuff like that. When that was new shit in the market, it was amazing, you know, because you were getting that level of quality for that low of a price. But now it's become this thing where these Chinese companies are literally competing their way to the best quality for the lowest price. And to me, that's a terrible business model. And I don't know why they would want to do that. Maybe, you know, they're trying to make a name for themselves, and then they'll progress into higher end knives, you know, like some of these companies have done, Artisan Cutlery, you know, with their budget line, and then coming out with nicer knives and things like that. Maybe that's where these companies are doing that, but like, you know, competing your way to the bottom is not, it's not a business model that anybody in America would really, you know, benefit from. I don't know how China works, but that's what's going on today. So that being said, you know, good action, good ergos, cheap price. You know, this is a good pocket knife for 45 bucks, guys. It really is. Now, I have not done anything to this knife, so let's take it apart. I want to see what the inside is like. I pointed out some of the QC failures that I've seen here with the shit blade finish and the bad fuller termination. So let's see what's inside. I've got my awesome Journey Tool Co. kit here with the Turos. This is the Journey Tool Turos driver. I was lucky to pick one of these up before the holidays there. They're very difficult to get. And yeah, so pretty stoked with that. T8, I believe. Let's see. Yep, T8 on the body screws at the very least. They believe this is going to be disassembled from the frame side. There is probably a little bit of Loctite. Good screws. They are panhead screws, or oops, they are flat top screws. What do you call them? Cap screws. My brain is not functional today, guys. It's got cold in Texas today. So I think we need to pull the clip as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to do it anyway, just because I want to get this fully broken down. And I'm just going to keep the screws for the clips separate there. And pivot is loose. There was no Loctite here. It does seem like it's captured. Very nice screw for the pivot. I dig that. That's pretty cool. And then we've got the pivot collar there, which may or may not be titanium. There's no metal here. Let's try the magnet and see. Yep, nope, that's not titanium. Stainless steel pivot screw, stainless steel. Very thin G10 liners, and We've got some good skeletonization here to keep those liners lighter. And they are fully mirror polished. There's a lot of oil to keep it from rusting. They put a bunch of oil in here, but these are fully mirrored out. We've got a ceramic detent ball going on there. And all these edges are soft. Everything is chamfered really well. There are no sharp edges anywhere. Obviously, because they do this mirroring, you know, they do this on polishers. They probably belt sand it and then they put it on a buffer to get that mirror finish. So everything is really soft, no sharp edges. Chunk of G10 for the back spacer. And we have the standoffs for the back spacer there, which are just standard barrel standoffs. We've got probably 5mm ceramic bearings here, kind of the standard, you know, Chinese brass bearings. Blade, if we can get past my fingerprints there. Big old lock face. Bearing pockets milled in, and they seem reasonably well done and cleaned up. Yeah, there's no sharp edges here. Not too bad, not too bad. And standard stop pin and all that. There it is. That's what the interior of the Velona looks like, guys. And so, you know, I think this knife has a lot of modding potential. You know, there's a lot of things you can do here with these liners. Since they're steel, you know, you can acid etch them. You can do other things with them. You could heat bronze them. There's a lot of things that you could do to modify this knife to your specific liking. So I think I'll do that. Let me know down in the comments, guys, what kind of mods would you like me to do on this Miguron Velona to make it look pretty cool. And then after I'm done modding it, I will mod it, I will clean it, I will tune it, I will sharpen it. I'm probably going to give this away for my 500 sub giveaway. And so that will be pretty cool. You know, I like to put my touch on knives. You know, I do modifications in my spare time just as a hobby. I'm not a professional, but you know, I do mods. And so I'd like to modify this knife, and then I'd like to give it to somebody when I hit my 500 sub, you know, mark. So if you know any friends that have not yet subbed to my channel, that would be awesome. If you would say, hey man, this guy is giving away a cool knife. And I'm probably going to add some other things to the giveaway, not just this knife. And so, you know, invite your friends to come sub my channel so we can get me to that 500 sub mark. And we will get a giveaway done here shortly. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. I'm going to reassemble this bad boy for now and, you know, tune the action a little bit. And then I will think about the mods that I'm going to do on it and get some work done on it. And when it's time to give it away, it will look completely different. All right, y'all. Later.